Are you looking for a small car that'll fit into your life? You are not going to believe the news I have about this Honda right behind me. That's right. Behind me today, I have a 2015 Honda Fit with 165,000 miles. This is one of the few cars I've never even ridden inside before, so I'm excited to learn a little bit more about it. We're going to take a walk around, we're going to talk about the common problems, and then we are going to decide if this car is a buy or a bust. Starting up front here for our walk around, I don't know if I like the style on these or not, but I do think they're kind of a fun styled little car. They look a little bit sporty. There's not so much you can do with a car of this size to make them look great, but I think Honda did an okay job. Now, we do need to talk about rust. These are prone to rust around the wheel wells, around the hatch. The hatch seals will actually leak a little bit of water in, and you can see that there is peeling paint, which is a common Honda problem. And this is a good example of it, especially in white. So if you're looking at a white one, it's probably going to have some peeling paint, and if it doesn't now, it probably will down the road. Overall, really, if you just check them out for rust, or you take care of your peeling paint before it does rust, you're probably pretty good to go on everything on the exterior. It's just whether the style is something that you like. Under the hood of our Honda Fit a 1.5 liter Earth Dreams 4-cylinder under here that makes 130 horsepower and 114 pound-feet of torque. Now, I love the opportunity to talk about the Earth Dreams name because it is the stupidest name in the engine world, okay? Now, they do have VTEC under here. That's a good name. Earth Dreams, Honda, what were you thinking? It's ridiculous. But that's not really that important. Let's talk about the reliability. Now, as you heard, this engine is running quiet, smooth. It does have an aftermarket exhaust, so there's a little bit more noise back there, but the engine itself is running well. That being said, there is a few things we need to talk about that you need to look for if you're going to go out and purchase a used one of these that has higher mileage. The number one thing that I want to mention is timing chain noise. Now, some of these have a little bit of a rattle on startup, and that is the timing chain, but usually it will go away right away. Those cars I'm not really concerned about. Those tend to live forever. Now, if the rattling is more persistent and continues while the car is warming up, or you just notice it all the time, that means you do have timing chain guides or tensioner or a stretch chain that is failing and going to fail. Now, if you're listening to this engine, you don't want to mistake the timing chain noise for what is the fuel injection system. This is a direct injection engine, which means that the injectors make more noise than standard non-direct injection cars. The one thing I should mention about the fuel injection system on these, the early 2015 Fits had issues with those fuel injectors. They were known to fail, cause a rough idle, cause just a bunch of problems with it running rough, check engine light, etc. Honda fixed those. It's not an issue at any of the ones that are a little bit later in that year, but the early ones did have an issue with that. Now, this is not exactly engine related, but it's more of the electrical system. These are also known for people to come out to their car in the morning sometime and their car to just be dead. And you're like, well, this thing was charged up, it was fine yesterday. That's actually the cables that run to either the starter or the alternator. Honda has a service bulletin out about it, but those were known to come loose over time and maybe even get corroded, different things like that. But the cables that run down there just lose connection, and then you come out to a dead car. Not a huge issue. I wouldn't really even worry about it, but it's happened to enough of them that Honda had to put a bulletin out about it. And then if you've watched any of my videos, you're going to probably know what I'm going to say next, and that is AC compressor. Honda cannot make a reliable AC compressor to save their life. These are no different. AC compressors are known to fail, leak refrigerant out, just really anything to do with the AC system can fail on any Honda. Now, this engine is mated to a 6-speed manual transmission, which is the more desirable of the two transmissions. The other one's a CVT, and Honda makes pretty decent CVT transmissions, but all CVTs require more maintenance than just a regular automatic transmission. The driving experience, not that great, and just generally, I don't like them, but maybe that's because I'm a car guy. The 6-speed manual is definitely the more desirable one, and actually causes the price of these to shoot up a little bit. It's the more expensive option. These 6-speed manual transmissions are extremely reliable. The only thing you have to worry about really is the clutch, which would be with any manual transmission, and whether a 16-year-old kid learned to drive stick in it. So if the clutch feels good on a test drive, you're pretty much good to go. There's no real issues with them. Moving on to the interior of the Honda Fit. Now, this is the 3rd generation. It's the first year of the 3rd generation of Honda Fit. And I gotta say, when I stepped inside, I was pretty impressed. They used some nice materials. They got like stitching on the dash. The door panels look nice. I was like, this doesn't feel like an interior for a super small car. And actually, it doesn't feel quite as small inside as what the car appears from the outside. Now, of course, size is relative. I'm 5'9", so it feels okay to me. If you're 6'4", this isn't the car for you. You need to find a different car. Something like a Maybach or something. But for average height people, I don't think it's going to be too bad for you. Honda did do a couple updates as far as tech in these cars. You got a push button start, which is really nice. And they moved away from having physical buttons. They put most of your buttons in the infotainment screen. Nobody likes this. I don't like it. Your volume's in there. The actual infotainment system is okay. I don't hate Honda's version of it. Obviously 2015, they're starting to get dated, but it's really not too bad. The one thing that is the most perplexing, the thing that they decided to leave manual, is the switch for your recirculate for your HVAC system, whether it's going to pull air in from the outside or recirculate the air inside. Every car since like 1982 has moved away from having a manual switch for this. They're all just a button. You push it, and it does it automatically. I don't know whether Honda had a bunch of failed actuators or what happened, but it is a physical switch that is massive. So for some reason, they couldn't put a volume button or knob in, but you have this massive switch that most people don't use real often. As far as other features, it has an HDMI inlet. It has power outlet up here, USB. For a small car, it actually has a fair amount of options. The other thing that I thought was unique or quirky is that there's 2 cup holders up here, just like any car, but it's really short. You would never be able to put your girlfriend would never be able to put their Stanley mug, hydro jug, or other ridiculous contraption that she has right in the center here. So they do have a nice large cup holder up here. I think the spot for that is perfect. I think it's a really good idea. I think Honda did a really nice job on that. As far as actual wear and tear, these interiors hold up pretty well. Honda is known for having their material on the seats and stuff as the age turn into like a plastic. It just wears away. But I actually think these seats are a little bit different material, so I don't expect that on this car. Electronics, switches, everything works. Now, this isn't the oldest car that we have ever reviewed. It's only 165,000 miles and 10 years old. Honda, I don't love their door switches and things over time. I do feel like they wear out, but on this one, they're all in good shape. There's no issues. Moving on to the second row here of the Honda Fit. And this is one of the more interesting things that I learned. I did not know this. The fuel tank is actually under the driver's seat up here for the car. And that gives a really weird sensation to your second row here. You can see that I got plenty of leg room, but the floor actually slopes backwards. It makes the seating position for your legs a little bit better to have that slope rather than being, up higher. But I wouldn't call it comfortable, actually. I wouldn't want to really sit back here. The other thing is headroom is pretty terrible. I got just a little bit, and I'm not a tall person. So it's not my favorite back seat. The actual seat itself is comfortable, so I can't complain about that too much. You do feel like you're in a small car, but I just thought that was really interesting. I've never ran into a car that the fuel tank was under the front seat. They did use pretty decent materials and stuff. It's the same basic door panels and things like that from the front. You have cup holders in the door. And then the cool thing is this seat folds down and does a bunch of different stuff. It's called the Magic Seat, which I'll show you a little later because it gives you a lot of cargo hauling options. I'll try to stay out of the way for the Magic Seat demonstration. And that is, it folds down flat, just like you would expect. You can haul lots of cargo. That's fairly normal in a car like this. But where the fun really begins is the bottom. So you can pop this guy up, you put this bar down, it locks in, and you end up with all of this space. Pretty cool feature. Got to give them props on that. Haven't seen that in a car quite like this before. So lots of functionality there. Would be a good car for putting a large object in, funny enough, with how small the car is. And then as far as other storage, it actually has a pretty large rear trunk space. You could put big suitcases, nothing too tall, but actually pretty good storage. It does have a spare actually down underneath there as well. I was surprised to find that. But for a tiny little car, you could really haul some stuff. Pulling out onto the road in our little Honda Fit. And we're gonna do a little pull here. You know, not fast. It is go-kart-like, but it is almost kind of fun. I do need to address the headliner above my head. I have to assume that that is not factory. I'm joking, I know that it's not factory. But I do think about, you know, the buyers of these cars, and I think they are a fun little car to do your, you know, customizations and things like that on, and I'm gonna assume that that's pretty common. So we are on a nice straight road. We did go over some bumps. I got no clunks, I got no sounds, other than the aftermarket exhaust makes a little bit of noise. It's, you do have some air noise. You can tell you're in a smaller, cheaper, you know, entry-level car. Is that a fair thing to say? But entry-level doesn't mean that they're not reliable. I don't have that much to talk about as far as suspension, steering, anything like that. The steering is tight. They don't have any more common problems, actually less than most cars. Not a lot, you know, they're not famous for any bushings wearing out, anything like that. Obviously, when you get up into this mileage, things are going to wear out, but nothing prematurely. The only thing that people mention is wheel bearing noise sometimes. So you might have a wheel bearing go bad. You have a little hum as you're driving, something like that. If you put an aftermarket exhaust on, you won't even notice it. No, you might have a wheel bearing go bad. The brakes are known to be noisy. That is one thing. We'll get on the brakes here. I haven't had to come up to a stop sign yet, but the brakes are known to just squeak. And it doesn't really matter what brand or anything like that. For whatever reason, the design of the brakes makes them a little bit noisier on some of these. All of these small cars tend to be twitchy when you're driving. Like you kind of, you know, this one does not have much of that. For the size of it, it feels pretty darn good. Like out on the road here at 60 miles an hour, 50, 60 miles an hour, it doesn't have much of that twitchiness that is common on small cars. Yeah, 130 horsepower is actually like plenty for this car. It is not fast. You would have to think about, before merging on the highway a little bit, but it's exactly what I'd expect, and probably even a little bit faster than I would expect. Now, we didn't talk about fuel mileage yet. So these are rated at 29 in the city, 37 out on the highway. I actually kind of expected the highway number to be like in the 40s, really. Not that 37 is bad, but I actually think that that is less than what the Civic gets in this generation. I'd have to double check those numbers, but I know the Civics are up in the 40s. So for being a smaller car, I'm sort of surprised about that. Overall, the driving experience, the seat, the interior, all that stuff for a small car is pretty comfortable. My only real disappointment, I would say, is the back seat. I think the back seat is an awkward seating position. It's really probably only suitable for kids. Definitely not, large adults or anything like that. Back from the test drive, and now it is time to decide if the Honda Fit is a buy or a bust, and if it's a fit for your life. Obviously, this is kind of a unique car. This is not going to be a car for everybody, but if you don't have kids or a lot of luggage to take along with you, and you just need a reliable runner, I think it's a pretty good option. The price range on these things is $6,000 to $8,000. Obviously, the engines are solid. There's a few little maintenance things that will help you out, but honestly, I have no issues as far as the reliability there. If you have the CVT, you do have to keep up with the maintenance on it, and no one likes a CVT, so I would definitely opt for the manual. They're a little more desirable. They're actually worth a little bit more, but that is the direction I would go if that's something that you want to have on your day-to-day. If you're looking at a used one and the clutch feels good, or if the CVT feels good for you, I think this is absolutely a buy. They're a quirky, semi-even fun little car that for the right person, it will be an awesome little daily driver. If you have one of these, put your experience in the comments down below. I want to hear the problems you've had, if there's something I missed. If you love it, if you hate it, I want to hear all about it. Thanks for watching.